Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me for this week's Unlocking the Magic of Leadership. Now, this week we are looking at the fourth key, inspire yourself and others, and this week is all for my Disney fans. We're going to be talking about Disney leadership and what made it unique. What ended up keeping me at Disney, even though I wasn't originally a Disney fan. So some of you have probably heard the story that growing up, I did not connect with the Disney princesses. I did not watch the Disney movies. I wasn't a fan. It wasn't until Beauty and the Beast came out with Belle, and then it was like, okay, I can kind of see myself in Belle. And then the princesses continue to get better. But the originals, I can talk all day about The Little Mermaid. She drives me insane. So working at Disney, I didn't start working there because I was a fan of the company. Started working there because my husband was a fan of the company. It was right after I'd graduated college. I was looking for a job. It was after a recession. They were hiring for the college program. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. I did my college program at Fort Wilderness, which was the campground. I was not amused. They were. And to be honest, I didn't like it. It was okay. And then about halfway through my program, I heard about the management internships. Now, the thing about the management internships, they were super competitive. And I am a super competitive person. So I was like, check, applying. And I did all of the things that I needed to do to get one of the internships. And when I started the management internship, that's when I was in Animal Kingdom. You've heard all of the stories. I fell in love with Disney leadership. It was so different from leadership that I had experienced in the past. And some of the things that made it different are things that I continue to do and talk about in my own business when I'm coaching, training, and keynoting for leaders today. And some of those pieces, there's so many things, but the three that stuck out for top of mind for me that I wanted to share today, the first one is understanding the importance of creating a positive guest, customer, and employee experience. When you think about it, we spend more time at work than we do at home. So why be miserable? Why can't we be intentional about creating these positive experiences? And the way that they are created is we're intentional about it. We're paying attention. We're looking for those moments to create it. And when you think about Disney, you're like, yeah, but you got Mickey Mouse in your back pocket. It's easy to do things when you have Mickey Mouse in your back pocket. But the reality is, while Mickey was a lot of fun, he wasn't the magic itself. It was the 70,000 cast members that came together to create those moments. We had cast members that their purpose was to create a positive cast member experience. And so when you're looking around, what are those moments of positivity that you could add? We called them moments of magic, so magical moments. What are those magical moments that you have in your organization? Chances are you're probably already doing some. Pizza parties, birthday parties, things like that. Your team looks forward to those. Even if they grouse about it, they still look forward to them. And so what are those moments? And then how can you add more of those? How can you teach your team to look for those moments? They don't all cost money. If you're in customer facing, some of my favorite customer experiences are when I drop a Star Wars quote and all of a sudden the other person picks it up and we're having a full-blown Star Wars conversation. I love that stuff. The ability to do that is having leaders that allow that person to show up as their full geeky self. And then they find their geeky customers and all of a sudden we have a moment. And so understand that there is importance in creating those environments and it's not as difficult as we think it is. It's all about the details, looking at those details and looking for those moments when they arise. Now, the second piece is breaking down your culture into behaviors. Disney was phenomenal at this. And what I mean by that is we had our 4 keys. I don't know if they're still at Disney, but when I was there, we had 4 keys and they were safety, courtesy, show, and efficiency. In that order, we knew that the very first thing, it had to be safe, then we had to be courteous, and then it was all about the show, and then efficiency came last. And we called them keys walks. And the purpose of that is I would pick a key. So let's say I pick courtesy. I would walk through and I would look for examples of behaviors that were happening that supported the concept of courtesy. And then I would acknowledge and reward that person. But then I would keep it in the back of mind because when I was having conversations with my team about what courtesy is, instead of talking about something big and fluffy, I could talk about courtesy is walking up and introducing yourself to a guest. Courtesy is when a guest is asking for a different size, even if you know we don't have it in the back, you still go look. Courtesy is knowing enough about the parks to be able to answer the questions when the guests come in. For me, as a leader, courtesy was listening to my cast members when they were talking about something that was frustrating, whether or not I agreed with them. Courtesy was if somebody come and they needed a day off, actively working with them to try and figure out how we could make it happen, not just saying no. So when we think about behaviors, so many times we have the mission and the value statement. Our mission is to take care of customers. Great. What does that look like? What is the behavior of what you want to see to support that? When you think about the best organizations, they actively try to break down what this big nebulous concept of mission value statement is into very specific behaviors. So people not only know what that statement is, but also what it looks like in action. So break down those pieces for you and your team. What does what you want them to do look like in action? And then finally, how can you foster a culture of respect, teamwork, and collaboration? One of the things that Disney was really good at was allowing people to show up as their authentic selves. Now, authenticity was never used as a weapon. So, well, you say that you want me to be me. This is just me being me. I can't help it if they're offended by the joke. No, ma'am. No, sir. That is not okay. So as leaders, we were trained on how to have those difficult conversations to hold our teams accountable to what is and is not okay. That was the first time that I heard the statement that it's okay to be upset. It's not okay to yell at your team members. And so we really started breaking down what does this look like to be able to work with and through others as a large team. You did not work by yourself at Disney. It was impossible. And so when we think about the Disney leadership experience, it all comes down to being intentional, paying attention to the details, and understanding what good looks like, what those behaviors are, and then being able to break it down for those on your team. And so specifically, the 3 tips that we talked about today is understanding the importance of a positive environment, leading by example and breaking down what those behaviors look like, and then fostering a culture of teamwork and collaboration. So I could talk about this stuff all day, but we don't have all day. We have stuff to do. So I'm going to cut this video here and remind you to have an absolutely amazing week. And also, you got this. I'll see you next week.